Most people when they're moving to Irvine are focused on the home prices, but there's a couple critical things that catch a lot of buyers off guard other than just the price of the home. Whether that be coming through Mello-Roos fees, HOA rules, or HOA fees, you want to make sure before you fall in love with a home, you understand the true cost and everything that you need to know before buying a home in Irvine. And today in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the top 5 things that you need to know before you go to buy a home here in Irvine. But first, I am a realtor here in Irvine. So if you are looking to buy, rent, or sell, make sure you reach out to me. All my information will be in the description below. I'll also put my number right here. That way you can give me a quick text or a call. But now we'll get back into the video. So number 1, like I was hinting at earlier, there can be a Mello-Roos tax. So what is this? It's basically, in short, just another tax on top of your property taxes per year. And it can be different depending on the community that you're wanting to buy in within Irvine. Now, the good part is these bills are meant to help with the infrastructure, the roadways, and it's meant to go back towards your community. So if you want to be in a community that's well kept and kind of has that extra oomph, it's going to be a great place for you to be in. But if you don't necessarily want to pay an extra 1 to 2% in property taxes a year, then you really want to make sure you avoid those areas. And the average price point, median price point in Irvine you're going to be spending is around 1 to 2 million, on average 1.5. So an extra 1 to 2% per year in property taxes can be a really big hit for most people. So you want to understand where you're looking. So you want to see if there is or is not a Mello-Roos fee for you to pay. So make sure you always check on this before you write an offer, because it can severely determine how much you can spend on the home, and it can't be negotiated away. Number 2, nearly every home in Irvine has an HOA. Meaning they're going to have different rules and they're going to have different costs. So if you're budgeting and let's say $5,000 a month is how much you want to spend, and then you're looking at homes that are going to put you in that price range with mortgage, taxes, and insurance, and then you have a 500 HOA and you are only expecting a couple $100 a month, 1 to 200, you might not be able to afford that home comfortably anymore. So you want to make sure when you're looking in certain areas what the average HOA cost is going to be in that area and what rules. If you're someone who loves pets like myself and you have a dog or a cat or a lizard or whatever you might have, a lot of HOA communities do or do not allow pets. So you want to make sure before you write an offer on a home and fall in love with it that you understand fully what they're expecting from all of their owners. The upside, however, is if you do love a really maintained and beautiful community and probably spas and pools and amenities, it's going to be great for you, but you just want to make sure you understand the cost. Number 3, commuting and traffic is real. The 405 and the 5 freeways can 4 times your trip depending on the time you leave. So if you're leaving at rush hour and you work a 9 to 5, so 8 o'clock or 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., you want to make sure that if you're working in Newport, you don't want to be in Northeast Irvine and have to drive an hour to an hour and a half to where you're working. So you want to make sure you see what that drive is going to look like, not just when you view homes. What I always kind of like to joke about is when you go to look at homes, realistically, it's going to be 2 p.m. on a weekday under the perfect conditions, bright and sunny. But when you're actually living there all the time and you're leaving at 8 a.m. to go to work and you're coming home from work at 6 p.m., you want to make sure you understand how much that drive is going to be. Because if you don't want to have an hour commute back and forth from work every day, you're going to have to choose very carefully on where you're living. Number 4, closing costs and property taxes add up. Now, like I was saying, you already have to worry about Mello-Roos fees, but you also want to see what the property taxes in general are and closing costs. So normally closing costs on the buy side are going to be 2 to 5% of the total purchase price of the home. Just for easy math in my head, if you're buying $1 million house, which is a little bit lower end for Irvine, I know it's insane, but it just is, it's going to be $20,000 to $50,000 up front. And normally property taxes are going to be between 1 and 2%. So that's an extra $10,000 to $20,000 every single year, and you're not going to get rid of it. So you want to make sure you're budgeting for that before you ever really even start searching for homes, but especially before you ever write an offer on a home. But a little pro tip is closing costs can be fully negotiated and fully covered by the seller. On average, it's 2 to 5%, but it can be 0. So you want to make sure you structure your offer well. You're fully prepared. You do all of your due diligence before. You don't just go and start looking at homes. That way you can have a really strong negotiating plan and hopefully get those costs as low as possible. Number 5, the market moves very fast. Currently, the average days on market is 45 days. And while that sounds like a lot of time when it comes to searching for homes, it's not. Meaning, if you saw a home and it's been on the market for 2 weeks, you have 2 weeks to make the biggest decision of your life. So the market moves very fast, and you want to make sure you understand that before you get into it. Now, I'm not saying you should make any rash decisions, but you should really understand the cost fully, understand the area fully, understand everything fully. Like we're saying, the 5 things that you need to know. You want to understand all of these fully before you ever start even looking for homes. Because if you don't, you're going to have 2 weeks to write an offer on the biggest purchase of your life, and then you're going to really not understand everything before what's going on. So you want to make sure that you prep as much as possible. I always like to say you fail to your level of preparation. And if you have no preparation, when you fail, because there's going to be some parts where you're going to fail, it's not going to be good. So all of that being said, Irvine is still one of the most desirable cities in the entire nation. So if you can get in here, it's going to be absolutely worth it. There's just a couple things that you need to know beforehand. That way you're not surprised when it comes time to buy here. So if you're looking to relocate from out of state here into Irvine, or if you're just looking to move from a different city within Orange County, again, make sure you reach out to me. I'd love to help you in any way and tell you another thing I always like to say is you want to talk to a professional first about what's happening for you. This is general advice, but it might not be exactly what you need. So if you really want to hone in on what you need to know before purchasing within this city, make sure you reach out to me. Again, all my information will be in the description below. But also, I do release videos every single Friday detailing the benefits of homeownership and how to buy a home here in Irvine. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn a little bit more, make sure you subscribe. That way you don't miss out on next week's video. But as always, thank you so much for tuning into this week's video. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a good week.